Good morning, everyone. How are you? Hope you're doing well this morning. Today, I want to talk about a question that somebody sent me, somebody that's been watching the videos and is part of our group. Which, by the way, if you want to be a part of our dream interpretation group where we interpret your dreams, kind of the community helps, or if you can help interpret dreams biblically, I'd love for you to join our group. But today I want to talk about how do you know if a dream that you have is for you or someone else, and if it's for someone else, how do you go about telling them? And I think those are great questions, because we tend to, when we dream, have other people in the dreams. And I think in the beginning for me, I would have dreams and, I might have 3 or 4 people in it that I actually know, but they didn't represent the dream wasn't for them in the sense that it wasn't going to give them direction, counsel, warning, any of that. They're just maybe showing up in my dream. So, and they really just represented something to me. So, if you dream about a bunch of old high school friends, old bosses, old anything, somebody from your past, they could just represent the past. The past being a part of your present reality or the present issue or of the dream that's kind of playing out. So for me, I would say 95%, if not almost 99% of my dreams are for me. They're not necessarily for other people. And I would say just in most cases, most people are dreaming for themselves and not necessarily for other people. Now that doesn't mean you can't have dreams for other people. And first, before I get into that, I kind of view dreams as a part of the prophetic. So in the Bible, where 1 Corinthians 14:3 says that prophecy is to build up, stir up, cheer up, I kind of use those as a guideline. If I'm going to tell somebody, hey, I had a dream for you, this is what I think it means, or hey, I don't know what it means, I had this dream. I kind of use that as my baseline. Because I also think too that, what if you had a dream, a warning dream? You might want to tell the person exactly how it unfolded. But there are ways to kind of tell if that's for them or not. So dreams are typically symbolic, meaning they aren't literal. So it's not highly, highly likely that you're going to have a dream and see the exact unfolding of something, like so-and-so is getting on a plane and it's going to crash. I believe there are instances of that, and I think at that time in your relationship with God, you've really got to discern, what to do with that type of dream. But like I said, most of the time dreams are very symbolic. I looked up this person who had a dream, and the only reason why I bring this up is because, well, I'll tell you. So I found there was a person, his name was Clinton H. Elliott, worked in the construction business. This was in the 50s, had a dream, and it's documented, that his sister would die in 6 weeks. And I don't know if he told her. I don't know if he told everybody else, but she did die in 6 weeks. And then he later dreamed that he was going to die soon. And so what he did was he started telling his friends and family, I'm going to die soon. He started planning his, getting all his things in order, and he planned his funeral out. And he indeed died. A crane collapsed on the construction site, oddly enough, and fell down, and he passed away. He died. So I have to wonder if the dream he had about his sister, if he could have, told her, and maybe she partnered with that and did the same thing as him. Because here's the thing, I believe words are so powerful. So if you go to somebody and you say, I'm going to have a dream that you died, and they take that and they literally put it into their spirit and they believe it, it literally starts to manifest around them. They're literally partnering with the spirit of death. Jesus doesn't he doesn't want us to partner with death. He came to give us life abundant. So my thought on that would be, like, for example, I had a dream that my dad passed away, and I literally woke up crying. Now, I did not call my dad and say, Dad, I had this dream about you, because I think that could have been scary. My dad does have a disease, and I don't want him to be fearful of it. But what I did do is I started praying. I started declaring life over my dad. I started commanding that disease to go away. And I just prayed. And sometimes I think that's what the dreams are. Not necessarily for you to tell people, but maybe to intercede or to see something in their life that you could intercede for. Because what I really believe happened with Clinton H. Elliott is that he partnered with death. He had a dream that he was going to die. He literally did all the things to prepare for death, and then he was just waiting for it to happen. I think if it were me, I would just the opposite of that. I would just be declaring life. I would just be saying, no weapon formed against me will prosper. No, and I would just be going on, and I would just declare the word of the Lord, that I will live and not die. I will have long life. So again, I think 95%, if not most of your dreams are going to be for you. Now, I will say, if you have a dream and you're in the dream and you're participating in the dream is mostly for you. If you have a dream and you are watching the dream like a movie, you're watching the dream, you're not participating in it, chances are the dream is for that person or about that person. So what you do when you wake up is you ask God, God, what does this mean? God, is this for this person? God, should I tell this person? And I think you have to pray about that and see how you share that to them. Because again, prophecy, according to 1 Corinthians 14:3, is to build up, stir up, cheer up. So I don't want to speak death into somebody's life, but again, you might say, well, what if it's a warning dream? What if I have to tell them? Listen, God will put such an urgency on your heart, I believe, and you're going to have to just ask the Lord. This is one of those things where there's not a formula. It's like in your relationship with God, in your relationship with that other person. The other thing is most of the time the dreams that you have they're not going to be for people out, if it's for somebody else, it's not going to be for somebody that you don't have a relationship for and you can't even get to and tell. So if you have a dream about President Trump, for example, unless you have a relationship with him or a way to get in there and tell him, then I don't know that dream is from God and that it's for you to go and tell him, unless miraculously you're standing in the street, he comes to your neighborhood and you're right in front of him. It might be the Lord doing that. So I'm just pulling out these scenarios or throwing them out there. I will say, and I shared this on an earlier broadcast, but I had a dream. This is for somebody that I love, and this person in the dream, I was watching it, so I wasn't a part of the dream, but the person was baking these most exquisite cookies, like super beautiful, creative, and I just remember thinking, wow, those are awesome, I want to eat one. But she baked them all, she put them on a tray, and she handed them to what I believed at the time was her ex-boyfriend. And when he got the tray of cookies, he took them and he just threw them and he smashed them. Well, when I woke up, I thought right away, what a jerk. And, I kind of thought that's an odd dream because she's been broke up with this person for 6 months, blah, blah, blah. I kind of sat on it for a little while. And then one day I called her and I said, hey, I had this weird dream. And I said, before I told it to her, I said, you're not back with so-and-so, are you? And she said, yeah. Who told you? I said, nobody told me. I said, I had this dream. Let me tell you what it means. And then I shared the dream with her, and I knew what the dream meant exactly. It meant that this guy was going to take her heart, the things that are a part of her, just who she is, and just smash them to pieces and break her heart. And, she kind of poo-pooed it. She said, whatever. She didn't really take it to heart. And within a year, the exact thing, she came home, he made her a steak dinner, and then said, see you later, and that was it. Moved out, never to see him again, broke up, broke her heart. So, that wasn't some life or death situation for her, but it was definitely a word of knowledge for her, just because I didn't know, but then also a dream that I believed was from God. So, that's kind of my take on how do you know if a dream is for you or someone else, and then how do you go about sharing? You know, everything, you've got to do everything in relationship with the Lord, and you have to be asking him. But I think if you're having dreams that are about death, you've got to be really careful. I honestly would take that as prayer or intercession before the Lord before I would plant that or speak that into somebody. Because I feel like, what if I would have told my dad, hey, I had this dream that you died? Then what if he would have worried and worried and worried and worried to the point where he just believed he was going to die, and so he just planned his funeral? You know, I'm like, we don't want to do that. Like, again, as I mentioned, dreams, I believe, come under the prophetic. And 1 Corinthians 14:3 says to build up, you know, prophecy is to build up, stir up, cheer up. So if you have any questions about dreaming for other people, or how to go about telling them about what your dream was or how to interpret it, because sometimes you might not even get the interpretation. Nathan and I have received dreams from many friends who weren't like these, you know, just telling us, you know, texting us, hey, I had a dream about you this morning. A lot of them, the ones that they share for us, are really encouraging to us. So we take it as like a prophetic word. So I think if you have some really encouraging dream where you're watching your friend fly off into the sunset or just soar into the spirit, and you're watching it, I think that is definitely, you know, why don't you text them in the morning and encourage them? Hey, I had this great dream about you. You know, help them start their day off right, positive. Help stir them up, cheer them up. So again, any questions, let me know in the comments. Also, if you have a dream you want interpreted, I do have a dream group. It's a closed dream interpretation group, and I would love it if you would join it if you have a dream you want interpreted, or if you can interpret dreams. Jean Chandler, I see you, old friend, and I would love for you to be a part of our dream interpretation group. I've prophesied with Jean before. We go all the way back to Elkhart. So would love it if you join our dream interpretation group. So thank you, and I'll see you guys tomorrow at 7 a.m.